look here or do I look here? Do I look here or do I look here? You introduce it. You're the lead singer.
Cool. Hey, I'm Ted, and this is Nick. We are the band ExactlyNo. So a while back, we asked friends and fans online to ask us some questions, some things they might want to know, and we're here to answer those.
Yeah.
A big joke that you never found funny.
What's the ExactlyNo songwriting process like? Well, usually it starts with one of us coming to practice with a groove or a jam or a drum beat, and then we just sort of build on it from there. Typically the first practice we'll just sort of come up with some of the different parts, and then after a few practices we'll kind of put those parts in an order, and then once we've got that figured out, usually the lyrics and melody for the vocal come last.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah. Sometimes it will come in and Ted will come in with an idea that's 90% done. Sometimes I'll come in with an idea that's 90% done. But it's usually a building blocks kind of process,
right,
versus here's a whole idea, this is how your part goes kind of process.
Down such a pity. How can you be sad looking so pretty? Into the trap we all come get stung.
Where did the name come from? I know we've talked about this before.
My recollection is we were texting back and forth when we were trying to come up with a name, and you suggested something, and then I made some silly suggestion back that was just ridiculous, and your response was,
I was like, yeah, that's exactly. No.
Then it was like, hey, maybe that's it.
Yeah, this seems like a terrible name, we should go with it.
Yeah, right?
Please don't let your head be hard.
If you were on a desert island, what's the one thing that you would have to bring with you?
Satellite phone. Get me out of here.
I'm not gonna beat that, so we'll accept that answer.
I want one of the plastic recorders from 5th grade or whatever.
So you can just play Baker Street over and over?
No. Because eventually somebody would come rescue you because they'd be sick of hearing all the squeaking and squawking.
Especially if it was Baker Street. Oh my God.
What was your first guitar or drum set? Do you still have it, or what happened to it?
My first drum set was some Sears made in Japan piece of junk that was my dad's. It was dark blue glass glitter, which may be why that's still my favorite color. And I think it was just a bass drum and a rack tom and a busted up old cymbal. Actually, my first band, I still played that. No bottom heads on it, of course. They had been taken off. And I sold it to Music Around, or traded it for some stuff, and I wish I still would have kept it, because now I have a similar kit to that. But I wish I would have had that, because that was my dad's.
My first guitar was a red sparkle Samick. It was a Strat style guitar.
Hell yeah.
Bought at the music store at the local mall, because when I was 11 or 12, I decided I wanted to play guitar. I saved up my money for about a year, and then my parents brought me there, and I paid cash for it. It was about $230 after tax. Yes, I still have it. I still love it. It actually plays pretty well. Here's another question. What bands inspire your music?
Man, everything I've ever listened to. I always say, like, people are like, what do you listen to? Everything. What do you like to listen to? Everything. I don't know, maybe you have a better answer to that, and I can come up with a more elaborate one.
Sure. I think, like Nick said, I mean, I think everything you listen to, everything that you experience shapes who you are as a musician and what you want to sound like, or what your perception of how you sound. But as far as like bands that inspire me directly, I'm a big fan of the Smashing Pumpkins. I desperately wanted to be the Toadies when I was growing up. Big fan of AFI, that's where I think I get some of the dark imagery from. Green Day made me want to start playing guitar.
I know, I think for me, I grew up on 50s, 60s, 70s pop and rock. And listened to a lot of alternative and indie and underground stuff, and still do through the 90s and 2000s. But I've actually started circling kind of back to where I started with more, I don't want to say classic rock, and I know I always want to drop the Led Zeppelin thing because it's so obvious and so many people say that, but kind of has that influence, that whole swing and swagger. It's not always about being on top of everything and being crazy. It's kind of about sitting on the backside and letting the song do a little more work, let the chops do a little less work.
Cleansed of all hate, cleansed of all his rage.
Favorite current song / record?
You go.
Phoebe Bridgers. I got her last record a couple months ago. I was late to the party on that after all the other things that she's been involved in. The song on that album called, I think, Scott Street is freaking great. It's one of those songs I can listen to, and it's like 2.5 minutes and the drums come in and strings come in and it gives me chills every time. I love that shit.
As far as like recent releases, my favorite is Celebrity Mansions by Dinosaur Pileup. It's just a great, fun-loving rock record. It reminds me of what it feels like to drive around listening to rock and roll as a teenager, just belting out the lyrics and tremendous melodies. So the question is, something that would surprise people about you. A big Gordon Lightfoot fan.
Something that would surprise people about me? I don't know.
There are no surprises left.
I guess not.
Give a damn when I say.
This one's pandering. Of all the local Minnesota bands I could check out, why would someone choose to come see ExactlyNo?
Good question. I would say because I think we are definitely doing something unique. And we're doing something different than what a lot of the scene that I have ever been in the loop on in Minneapolis has necessarily done.
I think you should come see us because it makes us feel good. Thank you guys for your questions.
Thank you.
If there's anything you ever want to ask us, jump on social media and give it a shot. And yeah, thanks for letting us do this.
Bye.